What if everything you believed about growing plants was backwards? No soil, no fertilizer, no drainage holes, no root rot, no fungus gnats crawling out of your windowsill pots. Just clean, clear water. And some of the most lush, thriving greenery you've ever seen inside a home. Here's the thing most gardening channels won't tell you. There's an entire category of plants that don't just survive in water, they actually prefer it. Plants that root faster, grow fuller, and look more stunning in a simple glass jar than they ever did crammed into a bag of potting mix. Our great-grandparents knew this. Before garden centers existed, before fertilizer came in color-coded bottles, people were growing trailing vines and bold foliage in old jam jars on kitchen windowsills, and those plants lived for years. Today, Growvia is bringing that knowledge back and going further. We've put together a list of 10 indoor plants that genuinely thrive in water alone, ranked from surprisingly easy to absolutely jaw-dropping. And we're giving you everything you need to actually start, today, with things you probably already have at home. Stay locked in, because plant number 17 roots so explosively fast, you can literally track the growth day by day with your eyes. And plant number 20, you might already have it sitting in your kitchen right now. And with one simple step, it'll become a trailing vine that fills an entire window. Let's grow. Number 1. Pothos, the unkillable legend. Let's open with a plant that practically invented water culture for the modern home grower. Pothos, scientifically known as Epipremnum aureum, has been sitting in glasses of water on college dorm shelves and apartment windowsills for generations. Students forget about it, office workers ignore it for weeks, and it just keeps going. There's a reason it earned the nickname Devil's Ivy, because it simply refuses to die. What makes Pothos genuinely remarkable in water isn't just its toughness, it's what happens biologically. When you place a cutting in water, the plant doesn't just tolerate it, it responds to it. Within days, the nodes begin developing what researchers call specialized water roots, a root structure that's physiologically different from soil roots, designed specifically to pull oxygen and dissolve nutrients directly from water. Snip a cutting with at least one node and a couple of leaves. Drop it into a clear glass or jar. Within a week, you'll see a white root threads emerging. Within a month, you'll have a cascading underwater root system that looks like something out of an aquarium. Change the water every 1 to 2 weeks. Keep it near a bright window. That's the entire routine. Pothos comes in dozens of varieties: solid green, golden yellow, white variegated, neon lime. All of them root just as eagerly in water. It's the perfect starting point for anyone stepping into water culture for the first time. Number 2. Lucky bamboo, the ancient water dweller. Here's a fun fact that surprises most people. Lucky bamboo isn't bamboo at all. Dracaena sanderiana, the plant sold in every gift shop, spa, and Asian home decor store, is a tropical perennial that has been cultivated specifically in water for thousands of years across East Asia. It doesn't adapt to water, it was born for it. In its native habitat along Central African riverbanks, the roots of this plant live in consistently wet soil, essentially submerged. Bring it indoors, place it in a decorative vessel with pebbles to support the stalks, and you've recreated its natural environment almost perfectly. The pebbles are purely structural, the water is everything. Lucky bamboo stalks can live for years, even decades, in the same container, steadily producing new leaf clusters and occasionally growing taller. Your only job is to top off the water as it evaporates, do a full water change every 2 to 3 weeks, and keep it away from direct harsh sunlight. If your tap water is heavily chlorinated, let it sit out overnight before adding it to the container, or use filtered water. That's it. What you get in return is a living sculpture, something with genuine cultural history and clean architectural beauty that asks almost nothing from you. Number 3. Heartleaf Philodendron, the everyday classic. If Pothos is the king of beginner water culture, Heartleaf Philodendron is its equally capable twin. Philodendron hederaceum produces those gorgeous, glossy, heart-shaped leaves on gracefully trailing vines, and it roots in water with almost embarrassing reliability. Place a cutting with one node into a glass of water, and within 48 to 72 hours, you'll see the first white root tips emerging. Within 2 weeks, a full root network. Within a month, the plant is pushing out brand new leaves. What makes philodendrons particularly well-suited to long-term water growing is how completely their root systems adapt. These aren't temporary starter roots waiting to be transferred to soil. Given time, philodendrons develop permanent aquatic root structures, thick, white, and highly branched, that sustain the plant's full growth cycle indefinitely. Use a clear glass container so you can monitor root health and water clarity. Change the water every week, place in bright indirect light, and the vines will just keep extending, leaf after leaf, month after month.
There is something quite satisfying about watching a philodendron root system develop. You can see every stage of the process, the nubs, the threads, the full branching structure, all visible through the glass. It's biology happening in real time right on your shelf. Number 4, spider plant, the unkillable machine. Spider plants cheat in the best possible way. Chloranthium comosum doesn't just grow in water. It hands you prepackaged, ready-to-root new plants constantly. Those long arching stems the mother plant sends out, each one ends in a cluster of tiny plantlets, miniature versions of the parent, already sporting their own tiny root knobs before you even cut them off. Snip a cutting, place it in a small glass of water, root side down, and stand back. Within a week, those roots will have trebled in length. The plantlet self-establishes with a speed that feels almost impatient. Spider plants have been popular for over a century because of their adaptability and tolerance. That same resilience makes them perfect for water culture. They thrive in a wide range of light conditions and water quality levels, asking for very little for consistent, attractive growth. Keep the water level just covering the roots. Change it weekly. Give it a bright windowsill. Over time, your plantlet will become a full-sized plant with arching green and cream-striped leaves that will start producing its own baby plantlets. The cycle continues on its own. Want to fill your home with plants for free? Start with 1 spider plant in water. Within a season, you'll have more than you know what to do with. Number 5, peace lily, the elegant adapter. Peace lilies feel luxurious. Those deep, glossy leaves and dramatic white blooms feel like they belong in a high-end hotel lobby. The idea of growing one in plain water seems almost too simple, but peace lilies are more adaptable than their elegant appearances suggest. Spathiphyllum species grow naturally on tropical forest floors where the soil stays perpetually moist, just a small step away from full water culture. With the right transition, they not only survive in water, they continue producing new leaves in those signature white blooms. The key word is transition. Unlike cuttings, you're moving an established soil plant to water. Wash every trace of soil from the roots gently but thoroughly. Place the plant in your water container, root submerged, crown above the water line. Change the water every few days for the first 2 weeks as the old root material breaks down and new water roots begin forming. Once established, usually within 3 to 4 weeks, your peace lily enters a new normal. Weekly water changes, bright and direct light, and the plant grows steadily. Those white flowers will return in season, even in water. It's a living lesson that simplicity and sophistication aren't opposites.
Number 6, Chinese evergreen, the living painting. Chinese evergreens look like someone took a paintbrush to their leaves. Deep greens slashed with silver, pink edges bleeding into cream centers, red flush tips on variegated backgrounds. Aglaonema varieties are genuinely one of the most visually dramatic foliage plants available, and they adapt to water culture far better than most people expect. Their reputation for tolerating neglect and low light and soil translates directly to resilience in water. Stem cuttings root within 2 to 3 weeks. Established plants transition from soil with patience and steady water changes. What surprises most people is that the color in the leaves, all those painted patterns, actually intensifies in water culture when the plant gets adequate light. Something about the clean root environment and consistent hydration enhances the vibrancy. Weekly water changes, indirect light, and algae monitoring are your full care routine. In return, you get a steadily growing foliage plant that refreshes your space with new, dramatically patterned leaves on a regular cycle. Number 7, English ivy, the old world trailer. Before trailing pothos became trendy, English ivy was the window plant. Hedera helix has been growing in water in European homes for centuries. Glass bottles lined cottage windowsills, each one holding a few ivy cuttings trailing downward in cascading curtains of lobed green leaves. It's one of the oldest known uses of water propagation as a permanent growing method, not just a propagation stage. Ivy's natural growing environment, damp, shaded forest floors and climbing bark, prepares it perfectly for water culture. Those aerial roots that help it grip tea bark adapt readily to aquatic growth, producing dense white root systems in water within 1 to 2 weeks of cutting. Take cuttings in spring or early summer for the fastest results. Multiple cuttings in a single tall vase or bottle create that classic cascading display. Change the water weekly, give it bright and direct light, and watch it extend, vine by vine, into something genuinely beautiful. Number 8, Coleus, the color explosion. This is where water culture stops being subtle and starts being spectacular. Coleus produces leaves that look hand-painted, reds bleeding into purples, yellow hedges framing chocolate centers, lime green veined with crimson. These plants are typically sold as outdoor annuals that die at the end of summer, but grown in water indoors, they become something entirely different. Year-round, continuously colorful foliage plants that root fast. We're talking 3 to 5 days for the first roots to appear, 2 weeks for a substantial root system, 1 month for a fully bushy, vibrantly colored plant. Coleus is a heavier feeder than most water culture plants, so change the water twice a week to keep it clean and oxygenated. Provide the brightest indirect light you can. More light means more intense color. Pinch back the growing tips regularly to encourage fullness rather than leggy upward growth. Mix multiple varieties in a single clear container for a living bouquet effect. The visual impact is genuinely stunning. Number 9, Cane the Gutter, the unexpected showstopper. Begonias feel exotic, fancy, the kind of plant that demands careful soil mixes and humidity trays and complicated care charts. And then you put a cane begonia cutting in water,
and it just roots. Steadily, reliably, and often spectacularly. The cane begonias, sometimes called angel wing begonias, produce tall stems covered in leaves that can be spotted, splashed, or edged with sere and red, with delicate flower clusters in pink, red, or white. Their native epiphytic growth habit, clinging to tree branches in humid tropical environments, gives them a built-in tolerance for both moisture and air circulation around roots. Water culture delivers both. Stem cuttings root within 1 to 2 weeks. Once established, the plants grow steadily, sometimes reaching 18 inches to 2 feet tall in water, and will produce flowers with adequate light. Change the water twice weekly. Support the stems as they grow tall. Provide bright and direct light for blooming. What you get is a genuinely exotic-looking plant that proves water culture isn't limited to vines and basic greenery. Number 10. Arrowhead plant, the shapeshifter. Arrowhead plants have a secret identity. Young Syngonian podifolium plants grow upright, producing those distinctive arrow-shaped leaves, compact and tidy. As they mature, something shifts. The plant begins to trail, sending out vines that can cascade gracefully, climb with support. It's like getting 2 completely different plants in one. In water, this transformation is even more dramatic because the growth rate accelerates. Arrowhead plants naturally produce aerial roots along their steps, structures that are already pre-adapted to water absorption. Place a cutting in water and those aerial roots expand and activate almost immediately. New leaf every week, vine extending measurably. Colors, whether you're growing the green, pink, or white variegated varieties, staying vibrant and clean. Weekly water changes, indirect light, and periodic pruning are the entire care routine. The plant rewards consistency with relentless, satisfying growth. Quick pause. Drop a comment right now and tell me, which of these first 10 plants do you already have at home? I read every single comment, and I'm genuinely curious how many of you are already growing some of these without even realizing they work in water. And if this video is opening your eyes to a simpler way of doing this, hit that like button. It helps Growvia reach more people who are ready to trade the massive soil for something cleaner and smarter. Now let's get into the second half, and this is where it gets really interesting. 10 plants, 1 common thread. Water, light, and a little attention, and that's genuinely all it takes. What we hope you take away from today isn't just a list, it's a shift in how you think about growing things indoors. You don't need bags of soil stacked in your garage. You don't need complicated watering schedules or expensive fertilizer programs. You don't need to feel like indoor gardening is something reserved for people with green thumbs and a lot of free time. You need